All warfare is based on deception.
What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and today we're going to be talking about Modern Warfare 3 Remastered. I know Modern Warfare 2 Remastered just came out, or at least a part of it did, but we actually do have quite a bit to talk about in regards to Modern Warfare 3. Now, I was actually going to make this video about 2 weeks ago, and I completely forgot about it, but thankfully the Gaming Revolution actually dropped his video late last night and reminded me of everything I had to say about this topic too, and my video is going to be a lot different than his, so definitely stay tuned for some different points here in this video. But as a bit of a recap, in case you missed it, the Woolads were actually the first group of people to leak Modern Warfare 2 and 3 Remastered well over 2 years ago.
Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 Remastered. However, they do not have a multiplayer. Those two games, basically, the reason they exist is, without getting too heavy into legalities to get myself in trouble, in a deal, Activision are now contractually obligated to release the campaigns of Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 Remastered in time for Modern Warfare 4 to come out, or at the same time as it.
And also, due to the Dallas shootings and other mass shootings around the country, it was also believed that No Russian would still be controversial once the game was released. So because of all those things, they're like, well, we gotta push the game back. And then eventually, Modern Warfare 2019 became a reboot, which meant you don't really need to play Modern Warfare 1, 2, or 3 from the past to understand the new story. So a lot of things played a factor in delaying remastering Modern Warfare 2 and 3. But at this point, it seems like since Sony and Activision actually signed a deal to remaster the entire trilogy and give PlayStation exclusivity, the games had to release at some point. And I want to assume maybe all of the Modern Warfare games have to be remastered by the end of 2020, if not, maybe at some point in 2021. So with the release of Modern Warfare 1 in 2016, the remaster from Raven, the game did have exclusivity on PlayStation to where you were able to play the game 30 days early before the release of Infinite Warfare. Infinite Warfare released with a bundle featuring Modern Warfare 1 Remastered and multiplayer. Only 10 multiplayer maps were available at launch for Modern Warfare Remastered, and the rest of the maps did come later with a nice and big update. But with Modern Warfare 2 Remastered, the game simply released on PlayStation 30 days early, won't be available on Xbox or PC until I think it's April 30th or a little bit after that. Now, when it comes to the multiplayer, we've talked plenty about this before, and we'll go more in depth with it later on in this video. But what's interesting about Modern Warfare 3 Remastered is that they will eventually sell a Modern Warfare Trilogy Remastered pack, similar to the last gen Trilogy pack they already have for Modern Warfare 1, 2, and 3. But the question is, if they end up doing a Modern Warfare Trilogy pack, will it be available on PlayStation 5? Will they upscale the 3 remasters to fit with next gen consoles, or will they just release it on PlayStation 4 at some point in 2021. That's just unknown at this moment in time. People have also talked about this evidence in the Modern Warfare 2 museum, that apparently there's some information about concept art being acquired in 2017 or so, which does line up with the fact that yes, work on the remasters was still being done in 2017. So yeah, maybe Modern Warfare 3 has been done for a long time now, and that's what the museum is referring to. But there's also evidence that the storyline of Modern Warfare 2 and 3 take place in 2016 anyway, so that's probably what the museum is referring to. So I'm not sure how I feel about that, but again, maybe that is evidence that Modern Warfare 3 is done. And on top of that, it does say it's a part of the remastered collection, so again, maybe the painting somehow remastered in the storyline of Modern Warfare, but a lot of people out there have assumed that the painting is referring to the remastered collection of the Modern Warfare trilogy. Again, further proof that we will eventually see a remastered trilogy collection, maybe for the price of $60, featuring all 3 of the campaigns, maybe not any of the multiplayers. They might even leave out Modern Warfare 1 Remastered multiplayer in a potential trilogy collection. We just don't know. But the issue too is that with the original plan for Modern Warfare 2019 being MW4, that made it to where Modern Warfare 2 and 3 Remastered were definitely needed. It would make a lot of sense to bring people up to speed, but considering it's a reboot now, it makes the games redundant. But when it comes to the redundancy of these games, I don't think Activision actually cares. I think the truth is is bringing out remasters of some of the most iconic Call of Duties will make them a lot of damn money. So they could probably give two shits if both Modern Warfare and Black Ops get rebooted, yet they still remaster some of the fan favorite Modern Warfare or Black Ops games at some point, right? You know, with Modern Warfare 1 remastered in 2016, it was essentially a get out of jail free card since Infinite Warfare was underperforming. So I definitely understand why that was definitely needed at that time. But going forward now, with the way the Call of Duty cycle is looking, there could be up to 3 releases every single year. You could have the main release in the fall, a free-to-play experience in the spring, and maybe a remastered release at some point in the summer. You know, I know Warzone and Modern Warfare 2 Remastered came out at around the same time, but going forward, that's if the cycle doesn't break because of the beer virus, and if things have to get pushed back, we'll see. But it looks like going forward, we may end up seeing 3 releases every single year. You know, I know the Modern Warfare trilogy has to happen, right, for the remasters since they're under contract, but maybe in the future, you know, some point in 2021 or 2022, Treyarch might also come out with some remasters, or maybe Raven or Beanox can do it. They can come out with remasters of World at War, Black Ops 1. They could even go as far as remastering Call of Duty 1, 2, and 3, the original 3 Call of Duty games, campaign only. That would be so easy to remaster and super easy to bundle all together into one big experience. That can all happen for all we know, but at the very least, we know for a fact Modern Warfare 1, 2, and 3 remastered absolutely have had to happen. Now the thing with Modern Warfare 3 is that the game kind of looked like shit anyway, right? A very, very gray color scheme, and I wasn't a big fan of how multiplayer looked, but imagine beautifully remastering all that. There are some nice moments in the campaign that look pretty cool, but for the most part, I'm not a fan of the color palette with that game, and things obviously went wrong with Modern Warfare 3 because the team that made Modern Warfare 1 and 2 kind of broke apart after the release of Modern Warfare 2 due to a lawsuit with Activision, and the people that left then went ahead and formed Respawn, released Titanfall, and went ahead from there working under EA. Some people from that original team did actually come back to work on the new Modern Warfare reboot from 2019, which is cool and all, but the team that made Modern Warfare 3 consisted of what was left of Infinity Ward, and then with the help of, what was it, Sledgehammer, Raven, and Neversoft, which is great, but ever since then, Infinity Ward has kind of been in shambles, right? I loved Ghost, one of my favorite games ever, but you know, the team was under some stress with that game too, and then Infinite Warfare came out, and there was some more stress. Infinity Ward's been crazy for years, but I think now it's looking like the team is a lot more stable, and there is a clear path going forward for what they're gonna do Call of Duty wise. But when it comes to how they'll structure that release, right? If they're under contract to release all 3 Modern Warfare games by the end of 2020, then maybe at some point this August or September, they might release Modern Warfare 3 campaign remastered, right? And then that's if Call of Duty 2020 gets delayed too, right? That could change the entire landscape of everything. If that game gets delayed, then it's an even better time to release more remasters, you know, Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer. We'll see how that works out, but let's just assume the contract is release all 3 Modern Warfare games by 2021. They can drop Modern Warfare 3 campaign remastered maybe next spring, you know, for all we know, and then maybe later this summer we'll see Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer remastered, and then next summer they can drop Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer remastered. They can easily structure it like that, but I refuse to believe that they'll just leave out the multiplayer entirely. The real question is, when is a good time to do it? I don't think Activision cares about splitting up the player base. It's of course all about money, releasing everything at the right time. So I think when it comes to the Call of Duty franchise, as I said, they could go to a 3 releases per year system where, again, main release in the fall, free-to-play experience in the spring, and then a remaster in the summer. That's how they can structure it if they want to organize it correctly. And we know Sledgehammer Games is working on a free-to-play Call of Duty experience that'll be available on all platforms, including mobile, essentially going the Fortnite approach that's supposed to be coming out in 2021, but again, due to the beer virus, anything and everything could be pushed back for all we know. Now, another big point is that if Treyarch eventually gets into this remaster game, will they just wait until PlayStation 5, you know, a little deep into the next generation console cycle before doing that? You know, we could easily see a remaster of World at War, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, games that of course weren't on current generation hardware with PS4 and Xbox One. But again, even though it's redundant, since new Modern Warfare is a reboot, it's still great to go back and play the iconic moments that gave Modern Warfare the name that it has, right? And I of course always wish that, you know, the new Modern Warfare was a true Modern Warfare 4, whether it's a sequel to Modern Warfare 3, whether it could have been a prequel featuring Price and some other characters. I definitely wish it was still connected in the same universe, because I see comments every single day asking, you know, how the new Modern Warfare is connected to the original trilogy. Is it a prequel? Is it a spin-off? People are so damn confused, and it sucks that, you know, it had to be a reboot. reboot, right? And there's so many ways they could have brought back iconic characters in a Modern Warfare 4. Again, a prequel's easy, a spin-off could have been easy, but it seems like Infinity Ward wasn't interested in doing that, and they ended up going with a full force reboot, which is questionable, because again, it's looking like COD 2020 is a Black Ops game in some way, but also some type of soft or hard reboot, featuring some of the characters we love, like Mason and Woods, but going in a whole new direction that the Black Ops franchise hasn't gone in before. So I'm curious how the community is going to react to reboot upon reboot upon reboot. You know, it's going to get annoying after a while, and I'm not a fan of all the reboots in the movie industry either, so seeing games do this is a bit annoying. But that is about it. Really hope you've enjoyed. Check out links down below in the description, and peace out, everyone.